Hi, everybody, and hello, Dr. Churchill. We are back to answer the age-old question, what would Churchill, your grandfather, do? And I don't know if you've noticed, but our world is not short of material to address this question. We are going to continue the dialogue today about the very new and ongoing war with Iran because we've talked about this, on the program. And today I'd really like to dissect, right, for the every person, because we are seeing a reorganization, a dismantling, if you will, of world power. But how the every person is really going to feel this in their day-to-day lives. And what have we here? But you are actually at the FII conference in Miami. You're going to speak and give regards. President Trump is going to speak and give closing remarks tomorrow. So, first things first, the important thing, do you miss me? Because, it's been a second since we reconvened on the show. So important matters first. And tell us what you can, about this big picture from your view inside the action there.
Thank you, Taylor. It's a blessing to see you again and to do our own video cast in the form of What Would Churchill Do?
Yes.
Well, the old man, were he alive today, he would be frothing in the mouth because he would see so much incompetence and unaccountability around the leaders of our world that he would simply perhaps turn around and just leave the stage. Now, we cannot do that,
Oh, he
especially
wouldn't
our
he wouldn't
current
do
leader.
that.
Of course, he wouldn't do that, but hypothetically speaking, sometimes the chalice is too poisonous to take it down. It'll kill you. So I admire our President Trump that he's willing to take from this poisonous chalice and carry on as best he can with the resources that he has globally. But at the same time, we must admit that it has become a giant festering mess, this war with Iran, and I don't see an ending anytime soon.
Well, listen, speaking of ending soon, I did ask if you missed me. Don't leave me hanging here in an unrequited, love situation. So I know we spoke, about 24 hours ago, so it hasn't been that long, but I need to know for my own.
I absolutely miss you because I heard the greatest news about your life. You are getting engaged to a wonderful man whom I want to meet in person and maybe engage with, in the process of you making a life. I very much want to
Oh.
mentor you and support you. And, having done that sport a couple of times, I might be able to teach you a little bit how to break the net in this game of tennis we call married life.
Well,
So
you know
here
what?
we are.
Here
We
we
are getting
are.
applauded with this wonderful remarks. Yay!
Yay! You have to sell with all the chaos going on in the world, you have to celebrate the good as well, right? And we're all going to get together in person, hopefully in Miami, very soon.
Yes.
But
The
speaking,
sooner the better.
the
We should
sooner
have
the
a
better.
place in Miami all together like Peyton Place.
Yeah, time is of the essence. I hear your cheerleading squad back there. They're on board. So
Yes,
let's
yes.
get to it.
And they will join us in the Peyton Place. They're gonna live with us.
But
We are all, and then we are gonna make a live comedy better than the one
there we
from those
go.
New York dudes staying, in the coffee shop. This is gonna be live on Miami.
Hey, there we go. Well, speaking of, time is of the essence. And yes, newly, engaged here and starting a life, again, to kind of bring it back, where all of this disruption and chaos, will people really feel it? Maybe it's economically, maybe it's in their own wallets, the market being so volatile and how this plays into it. Because the truth of it is, Dr. C, and we talked about this offline, right? Everybody has their politics. Should we be engaged in this war? Should we not? Does Trump, downplay it? Is it going on longer than intended? But let's boil it down, all of that aside for right now. Again, how it may impact our wallets, people starting their lives, people getting on with their lives that they may not even realize. What do you foresee?
That is a very important question. And when we boil down economics in its simplest form, it means that when The mother goes to the supermarket to buy milk for the baby, or solution,
Right.
or maybe butter and bread and cheese, and whatever is required to make food for the household. She's gonna feel the pinch of greater and greater inflation. This is the most unfortunate event of the way that we are managing our society and our economy. We do not want inflation. We want to stabilize the prices and bring them down. And that's what we want our president to do. And he has chosen a new person for the Federal Reserve leadership, Mr. Walsh. So out goes the old stodgy, foggy leadership of the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States, and incoming a new man who I believe will try to address the issue of inflation forcefully.
So let me ask you though, I love the cheerleading squad. Can we have them all the time? Can they
Yes, we
just
will
travel
have
with
them all the
us?
time.
They're doing great.
Together forever.
I see that. You know, what would you say though? Say it is to a struggling single mom or whatever it is that every day I've heard stories, I'll be honest, of people close to me in my life going, I have lost so much money in investments and this and that since this started. So they can't quite reconcile with, and I totally get and am behind your ethos of action versus inaction, right? But they're going, okay, but it's hurting my wallet, it's hurting my life. So, how do I make peace with that? What do you say? Is it that, we take the action and it's going to be a little bumpy, but we'll get to the resolve? It's better on the other side. How do you reckon with that for somebody really feeling it in their day to day?
Thank you. There is three words I share with you: jobs, jobs, jobs. We need to increase the number of jobs available to all of our young graduates, to all of our young people, and also to the older people who are exiting the market. We need to increase jobs for our graduates. We need to increase jobs for the people who exit the military and come into civilian life. In essence, we need to quadruple the job creation mechanism that we have today. That is the only answer in order to create stimulation in the economy. The Federal Reserve also must engage in a measure of quantitative easing, therefore lubricating the economy with a lot of cash that would be helping people to create jobs by doing startups, by bringing about new technologies into the forefront, and by giving jobs to all the people they can lay their hands on. Because the biggest problem in America is to have a marketplace full of happy workers, well paid, well compensated, and if need be, also subsidized. This is what the young people expect, and that's how we are going to make America great again. It's not going to happen by itself. So this is our opportunity to speak to the president directly and have him hear these voices. We want jobs, Mr. President. We don't want promises. We don't want more wars. Yes, finish the war, get rid of the nuclear weapons. But in America, all of my people, they want jobs. Help me create them with our new companies. Help me create the new jobs, with the startups that they traditionally create 95% of all the new jobs, and help me bring back the industrial might of this United States in all the blighted communities of the Rust Belt and everywhere else.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing. I'm as much of an America lover patriot as you are. And I love nothing more than the idea of restoring our power, our economy, our, general patriotism, all of it, right? But I am going to push you again on the every person because I love the idea of creating new jobs and prosperity and opportunity. But I'm saying for people feeling it right now, going, it's not worth it to me personally. And even if we're bringing Trump into it, right? He promised America first. Now we're getting dragged into this and my wallet is feeling it. How do you reason it with somebody like that who's thinking, what does this have to do with me? I'm worrying about my life, my children, my gas prices, all of this. Again, is it we have to endure this now for prosperity later? Trust us, it'll be worth it. Like, how do you help them see the immediacy
I
of
hear you. I
the
hear you.
situation? Yeah.
I hear you. And I hear you so much that I feel you in my heart. Because the most important thing when I talk about jobs is that all of us, we will have to make some kind of industrial sacrifice. And the easiest industrial sacrifice to make, and I put this openly to our president, reduce the work week to 4 days per week so more people can be employed, in the same number of jobs that we already have. That's the easiest mechanism to bring more money into the economy, bring more people into the economy, and above all else, make sure that the price of butter, the price of bread, the price of
Right.
milk will be
Right.
reduced. So this is the quick and easy fix because the 5-day work week is an antique. It's an antique from the industrial age. Now that we have, the benefits of compute, AI, and all the facilities of robotics and such, by reducing the workload of the individuals, every time two people they give up 1 day of work a week, which is not a sacrifice in my book because they can go fishing if they choose to, then you get two other people being employed, in their stead immediately. That mathematics does not make sense until you dig deep into it. By reducing 1 day a week, you somehow employ another person. But I will not explain the econometrics here. I will just say, Mr. President, give us a reduction on our work week by 1 day, and our economy is going to blossom. And let that be the first country in the world, like we were the first country in the world to institute a weekend. Let us now be the first country in the world to institute the 3-day work week, the 4-day work week with a 3-day extended weekend.
I
God
love
bless.
it. Not just talking, but offering solutions. I have to say, though, we're seeing the good news is we're seeing your beautiful ring, but we're missing your beautiful eyes. So I'm going to need you to tilt that camera up just a little. There we
Yes,
go. There.
I
Okay.
fixed it. Thank you.
Now we're in business. All right. Question for you. Have we kind of, again, looking at the big picture and seeing really with taking out or attempting to Iran and their, perpetual threat that, let's be honest, presidents way before Trump have been talking about, but never quite did, right? So, really, like I said, this reorganizing and dismantling of power on the world stage and power dynamics. Kind of zooming out, have we seen this story before? Or is this something totally new? And if we have seen it before, how did that play out? Like, if you could give a reference point to people maybe who aren't the biggest history buffs, but are in the reality of living through it right now.
Yes.
Is this a case of history repeating itself?
I think your position implies the answer I want to give. Somehow, causation can be correlation. And in this case, the cause of this war is the imminent threat of a nuclear bomb erupting in our country. And that threat has not been diminished as of yet. That threat still exists. So until the time that we manage to defang the tiger, take out the poison teeth from the cobra, or whatever metaphor you want to use in this case, we must be vigilant to remove the opportunity for Iran today or any time in the future of having a nuclear weapon. And that's the most difficult job that the president is asked to do. But he has taken this challenge head on, and I believe he will deliver. But I should not be the person that says there would not be, as they say, blowback. We should expect, as I do expect, that we will suffer some consequences of our actions in the Middle East. We are not immune to the ravages of war, as we have well known, to the blitzkrieg in London that devastated the city of London and the rest of the capital cities of England. There is always blowback in any kind of war. Do not diminish the adversary thinking that he is so weak will not blow back. They
Right.
will hit us, and they will hit us in a way that we will hurt deeply. But at least let's hope that we can stop the most serious nuclear attacks because they're manifesting even small briefcase sized nuclear weapons to hit America with. They have allies. They have allies in old Venezuela where they have Hezbollah with training camps in the
Yeah.
islands of the coast. They can reach our coast in a few hours with speedboats, low flying aeroplanes, or anything else. And they might as well have already done so. We do not know. But I hope in the next couple of days, when the president will be speaking here in Miami at this conference, this awful eventuality might not take place. But should it take place, I'm sorry, but we'll all be there and suffer the consequences. And I hope that God will treat us kindly and judge us for our good actions and receive us in paradise.
In transparency, to, package what you just said, and this isn't to, fear monger or warmonger. I think it kind of just reflects the reality of this. Unfortunately, we devastatingly saw this with 9/11, right? But even being on the ground on site where you are and hearing some very, threats, and whether they're true, not true. Again, you even said you're in this dilemma. I don't, we don't really know. The point is that this, is real, that it even exists, said threat, and going, is it real or not real? I mean, that even, scrambling in and of itself is a reality. And I think to your point, until it takes something catastrophic like a 9/11, we are sitting, whether it's intelligence or not, going, is it real? Is it not? Is it real? Is it not? But the fact that we're even in this state is really sad and quite frightening, right? And unfortunate. And to kind of wrap it up, I asked, is this history repeating itself? Have we seen this story before? And we've always, in, I think a good way, made the parallel to World War II and to the time of Winston Churchill, right? And we often play out what would have happened if the powers that be, like your grandfather, didn't take action. And I think we can apply that lens to this right now, right? It's like you can only
Exactly.
imagine what would happen. So when we talk about history, repeating itself, and very much again, Trump being in the position that your grandfather was in, going up against the status quo at his time, like the Neville Chamberlain's, right? So I wrap all of this up to ask really the again, golden question, $1 million question. What would Churchill do? But specifically when it comes to both safety and the threats that we talk about, again, knowing if they're real, not real. And second, uniting people economically when it's really hurting their wallets. What would he do?
Yes. I think my grandfather would do a simple thing. He would bite the bullet and go and put troops on the ground in Iran, occupy the country, search it, clean it up, and install a new governance system that would be more democratic than authoritarian and allow the people of Iran to breathe free again and to be able to decide their own destiny with a government of the people, by the people, and from the people, like we enjoy. This is the only solution. Half-assed solutions will not fly. Just letting this thing to fester even more, it will not work. We have to take decisive action, and that means that we have to get into the country and at any stage to be willing to bear the sacrifices necessary to achieve the ultimate goal, to remove that threat forever for the next generations. That's how we'll fix the economy, that's how we'll fix the rest of the world, and that's how we fix the job sector as well as the capacity, to capitalize on a victory. You cannot capitalize on a victory until you diminish your opponent 100%. This is the message from the Second World War. This is the reason why, Germany had to be occupied and they never accepted any quarter. And Germany had to do an unconditional surrender before the Allies decided to stop the onslaught. So I think that this is a lesson that's been read large in the history books and also in the worlds of history. And President Trump should know it. And I think he will hit that. But he has to bring it to the nation softly, 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 because there is a lot of opposition in the Houses of Parliament of the United States and for many countries around the world to having a multinational force occupy Iran and help rebuild it. But that's what we have to do, and that's what we have to do it right now, starting today, if not yesterday. There is no better time than the present.
Then the
Thank
present.
you. God bless you. And Churchill is listening to us from upstairs in the heavens and probably congratulating us for taking this bold position right up to his liking.
Listen, that's the point of all of this, right? Is to really, put that age-old wisdom on the lens of what we're facing now, because obviously, whatever he did, it worked. And I hope that, and I assume that you are, relaying much of this point of view in your talks at FII and beyond. While, might I add it, I'm sure your cheering section here can attest to this, while looking very spiffy, jacket, hair included, like we were talking about off camera before this. So Absolutely, on point. It's all there, coming together, and I hope that that message is, conveyed to these crowds and powers that be as well behind the scenes, which I'm sure it is. So
Thank you and God bless you. Bye bye and
you as well.
congratulations on your engagement. Ta
Thank you.
ta.
We'll celebrate soon in person. Thank you
Bye
guys.
bye bye. Ciao ciao ciao.
Bye bye. Be safe.